What is print gig? Advanced manufacturing using polymers. If you have a project that needs a very unique environment, maybe radiation or chemical environment, we can 3D print plastic parts to meet your requirements where a lot of other manufacturing solutions wouldn't survive, including in space.
So Sheelings comes from, is it actually Dutch? A Dutchman started it in the 70s, a guy called Leo Scheel, who was a pharmacist. So apparently Dutch people like to put ang on the end, and so that's kind of where it began. We're sort of across the toiletry and cosmetic space. We do a few cleaning products. We're doing about 1 million or 1.5 million units a month of all sorts, bottles, pots.
BioCell is one of New Zealand's premier biomanufacturing business, and we focus in manufacturing biotech-based solutions for human health, plant health, and animal health. We manufacture both injectables and vaccines, and the products manufactured by us are now sold not just in New Zealand and Australia, but all over Europe.
Like any heritage brand, it's about the memories they had when they first kind of remembered their first association with it. It's often summer, holidays, with family and friends, maybe Christmas, that sort of thing is kind of the time that people remember with being with Foxton Fizz.
Until now, 3D printing's been for prototyping. But what we're doing is end-use parts. We're on the market. We've got products that are out there with 3D printed parts, which hasn't really been that feasible until now. If you're a product designer, you've released a new product, you don't want to go straight to injection molding and buying hundreds of thousands of your part. You could 3D print your first 100 or 1,000 units and save yourself a lot of upfront capex and money and get something to market faster. You can change parts of the product faster. Especially with our satellite customers, they love that, because rather than waiting months for a part, the next week they can have their new design in their hand and test it. So things just move a lot faster. Sometimes by the time we give the part to our customer, the design's already changed, it's already outdated. So the shorter and shorter we can make that delivery window, the faster and faster innovation can happen, and that's an edge for New Zealand and for that company that we're working with. It's the faster you can innovate, the faster you can get in orbit or get your project in the market.
I think the growth has to come from innovation, so we can't rely on other companies bringing things to us. 10 to 20% of our revenue goes into innovation. One new innovation that we've brought in is a product called Terra Boost. So the idea here is that over the years, I think in the last 10 to 15 years, the amount of synthetic nitrogen that we use in New Zealand has gone up significantly as we've gone intensive farming.
Your average plastics, you're melting at like 220 degrees. Our plastics are more like 450 to 500 degrees. So you're a lot hotter. You're also in an oven pretty much. So normal printers, they can be out in the open or maybe 50 degrees. Our printers, you get over 120, 150 degrees inside the chamber of the printer, which starts making electronics a nightmare to deal with.
The excess nitrogen that is not absorbed by the plants end up in our waterways, and we know that some of the conditions of our waterways is not great. So we thought, okay, right, what if we use the fermentation technology that we have to see if we can identify microbes from New Zealand soil, so they are not genetically modified, and see if we can get those microbes to produce nitrogen and provide that nitrogen straight into plants' roots, so we can reduce the amount of synthetic nitrogen that is applied. We've seen nitrogen reduction of up to 50% with the use of these products, and the trials were done by Plant and Food Research.
There are some off-the-shelf printers that would probably work for commercial aerospace, but we're also looking at the future of printing with plastics that don't exist yet, printing with really specific jobs. We get a lot of jobs in that are just not standard, and those commercial printers, they're very locked down with what settings you can change and how you can optimize the part, and that's somewhere where we just can't compromise. So we have to make our own, is the solution we came to. We're yet to have a fully moving system. Just trying to make a moving system that's at 200 degrees Celsius, even solder starts melting in the chamber. So there's a lot of problems to sort of work out, and really fun, interesting engineering problems to solve.
It's a trend business, and they change so quickly that if you're not innovating or changing your products up or your branding or your packaging type, then you're going backwards. What we've seen from our customers, they're constantly innovating. They're having to either add new actives or revamp their current products, or discontinue those and start a new range, or just bring new things to market.
Manufacturing at the moment, I can imagine that it's things are difficult, things are tight.
I think it's tough. I think it's tough for everyone. It has been tough the last couple of years. So I don't think it's easy for a lot of people, because the competition is from external countries and manufacturers is real.
From a science-based manufacturing sector point of view, we feel that we have the right technology, we have the expertise, and we have the can-do attitude.
We've got a sort of protected position to some extent, because of the New Zealand-made brand in cosmetics is really strong. There's a very strong marketing proposition, selling point for products made here, and that's sort of what protects our lot to some extent. That people don't want to move their manufacturing offshore; they want to keep it here because New Zealand-made is right at the forefront of what they're selling.
So it's a good place to be, New Zealand, if you're looking at science-based manufacturing. But for other manufacturing, I think I can only tell by news headlines, which is not great.
The strategy's changed a bit in that we've just realised that, there's not a huge amount of point in trying to recruit new customers when there hasn't been a lot of buying going on. When the customers aren't feeling positive, it's not as easy to get them to kind of come on board.
Cosmetics is an interesting one, because it can be counter-cyclical because of the lipstick effect, where people buy, and in a recession people actually buy more of our type of products. And also being a relatively small market in New Zealand, there's not too many other places people can go. There's only a few of us that do this here. So we've got a very long standing loyal customer base. It's also not that easy to change manufacturer, because there's lots of IP that's tied up. It's a partnership in a lot of ways. And with the way we manufacture things, the packaging which people use, and the equipment that we have.
You can run a small, tight team when the economic conditions turn against you a bit. You don't really have difficulty in terms of costs. We don't have to do restructures or anything like that. So running very skinny does have that benefit. Of course, it means that you can't really push it as fast as you want, but you can't have everything. And also we have got some more action going on in Australia over that period of time when we had winter in New Zealand, which has had us put our heads down and try and get some more penetration into the Australian market, and that worked.
If you're starting a skincare brand and just focusing on selling it in New Zealand, then we wouldn't want to work with you. It's just too small. You've got to be thinking outside of New Zealand. And some of these brands, all of our brands are tiny, tiny, tiny in the scheme of world cosmetics and toiletries.
You've got Kiwis in Australia, and you've got Kiwis further afield that potentially allow us to kind of push it further into another market other than just Australia, and make the brand far more kind of robust internationally than just having Queensland at the moment, and get its legs going. So I think there's a lot of opportunity there.
New Zealand is a very small country, and we do have niche requirements, the human health, animal health and plant health space. And for large multinationals, we may not be as important as we might think. So it is quite crucial to have manufacturing capability in New Zealand, so we can cater to not just our requirements, but see if those requirements can then be modified or altered slightly, and see if they can be utilized for use overseas.
The last few years, we've seen a massive jump in our aerospace market. Lots of collaborations internationally with New Zealand as well. We're now third biggest in launches. So we've sort of naturally grown with that as well. So our timing's just been perfect.
Manufacturing is complicated. Manufacturing comes with regulatory hurdles, comes with logistical hurdles, comes with technology hurdles. You have to constantly upgrade your technology, your staff, your training. So we feel that once we have that framework set up in New Zealand, and at BioCell, we feel that the large multinationals feel comfortable in handing their products to us for manufacture in New Zealand.
We want to be a New Zealand-based manufacturing business, and so Aussie's the next step in that, and trying to get some Australian brands here to manufacture in Auckland. There's lots of brands similar to here that where there's an opportunity for us to go and take some small brands, bring them here, and they'll be a big part of our business. And we think that we can obviously offer something a bit different. We can offer some lower MOQs, more agility. We've got a very experienced NBD team, good R&D. So yeah, that's kind of, we've spent a bit of time this year over there, a few conferences.
We are currently in talks with a few different investors just to rapidly scale. So we've had quite a lot of international interest as well, and scaling to meet that interest is quite a difficult challenge, especially in ways of money, and not just money, but advice as well. This will be our first time scaling a company international, so getting people on board that have experience with scaling is quite important, I think, to our success. As we got more and more into the space market, we realized how important certifications are. And you get a part this big, sometimes you need paperwork that's this big. So we really started doing research into, okay, what certifications should we get to really secure our place in the market? To get into commercial aerospace would be massive, because not only do we have the material advantage, there's not many 3D printing companies in the world, let alone just New Zealand, that are fully certified to service that with 3D printing. There is a massive untapped market there for us.
I think we need to be more. We need to take more risks. That's a risk. That's that company formation and creating new products to the market. And we hope the products will be successful, but there's a small chance that it may not be. But if we don't try, we won't find out. So I think we just need to take more risks.
We've had some pretty good growth over the last 2 years that we kind of just like bed in and continue with.
If anyone's got a world-changing project that they want to get to market, hit us up.